Well, we had, as a couple, we had our biggest fight of our whole life in Tokyo because it was the first time we'd been slammed up against the other and we couldn't handle it. And I always say that when we landed in Calcutta, I shut my eyes and opened them when we flew out of there, which isn't quite true, but people, you know, got immersed as much as they could. Again, when we were in Calcutta, there were communist demonstrations going on in the streets, and somebody had told us not to go out on the street and walk, which we missed that word, and we went with some couple, I can't remember which ones, maybe Tiedemann's. They were along for that. Paul and Linda Tiedemann. Anyway, we went out in the midst of all that, but it was hard because none of us had experienced anything besides Western culture before, and so we just kept getting slammed up against, life's different than I thought it was. And then, of course, great well, one other little tidbit on that piece, when we were in Hong Kong, right after we celebrated my birthday, we were to go to Phnom Penh the next day. That was our next flight. And that night before we took off is when Cambodia closed that airport for the next 25 years. And of course there's a lot of conversation in our little meetings. We met every day. And we should try to go ahead and go anyway. We should do this, we should do that. And of course we didn't go. We just flew over and went on to Bangkok. But I always resented the fact that I missed Angkor Wat. I never got back there again. Then when we got to Bangkok, Sarah Caulfield's brother was living there, and he took us around to the markets and various and sundry places, which was fun. When we finally got, is this true? The pools were in Cairo? I think so. Anyway, when we finally got to Rome, it was the Western world again, and we went crazy. Martin Pesic danced on the table at the celebration that night, and I mean, we just were nuts because we felt comfortable again, finally. And the funniest of the whole thing was when we got home, though. Betty Pesic, who was so, and still is, meticulous about making sure that everything is recorded, and we think it through, and we reflect on it, and da-da-da-da-da. We had reflective conversations when we got home, and she recorded this whole thing and wrote it all down, and we presented it to Joe, and he was furious. He didn't think anything had happened to our insides and our spirit and our whatever, because one of the things that I think nearly everybody remembered being impacted by was the sand gardens, whatever you call those, in Japan, the big garden that's sand, and they break it
so
and,
carefully.
Yeah, there's a name for those, and I can't think what it is. But he was somewhat beside himself because he wanted this huge transformation in the men, and if it had happened, it didn't show.